And there we go, ladies and gents. We have seen a nice little pump off this support level at the $67,000 price range, something that we have been talking about quite a bit on this YouTube channel. We've already known that this would be a great area of support, and if you tuned into the previous live stream, then first of all, thank you all for the support. You will know that this was something I was continuously saying, that support is support, and this is where you'd expect to bounce. And the key level for me that was interesting was this blue box, but we also drew a bigger range representing this more navy colored box. I'll talk to you about all of that in just a second, but what I think is very exciting now is the possibility for Bitcoin to recover back above that $72,000 level and potentially set some all-time highs, or also discussing the possibility that could be a little bit more bearish where Bitcoin doesn't actually do any of that, and I want to cover it all with you in this video. So if you are excited, do me a favor and smash up the likes. And before we do continue, I have to shout out Blowfin to you guys. I outlined some super cool ideas in the last YouTube video. Shout out to those of you that did take advantage of this exchange, which is a no KYC platform. Many of you did jump into the market with some super cool profits. So big shout out to those of you that have taken advantage of that. Again, all those profits being made with free cash when you do start trading using that link below. And here's the deal, right? This entire box represents the support range that I was looking at, and the reason I drew it as a bigger navy colored box is because of this fixed range volume profile. You can see that the big spike on this fixed range volume profile basically tapers off right at the bottom of this box, which is why I felt so confident to draw it like that. And it also allows us to have a lot more kind of leeway for these wicks, right? Because we did end up falling below a little bit of these wicks. But from this low now to the high that we've just set, Bitcoin is up by 6%, and that's within the space of about 1 day, which is absolutely fantastic. And if we take a look at the S&P 500, we can see exactly why that is. As soon as the S&P 500 opened today, ladies and gents, look at that gap up that the S&P 500 made. Absolutely fantastic stuff there, and at the very same time, the dollar taking a big dip off this macro zone of resistance. Again, these are all things that we were looking at in the previous live stream, so if you are missing out on that critical time-sensitive content, then you need to make sure that you are subscribed, and also that you've got a bell icon checked on this YouTube channel so that you don't miss out on it, because I think a lot of viewers did make some really cool profits right after that live stream, which is absolutely sick. And now we're seeing Bitcoin top out temporarily at about the 68, 69k zone, just like actually basically topping out at the, like 70k here, which is where Bitcoin already found a little bit of resistance. But to me, none of this can be concerning. You already know my take on ranges like this, right? If you bounce off these kind of zones of support, I have to expect that we get the full completion right to the top of the range, and vice versa. If you lose this zone, I have to expect that you get the full completion down to the bottom of the range. And so I still think that Bitcoin is traveling back up to that $72,000 level. And again, with this massively bullish climate on the S&P 500, we're seeing all of the typical signs here that this market is actually going to be able to potentially even smash through that resistance level. And one of the bigger signs of that is the Bitcoin dominance chart. We'll come back to the Bitcoin price in just a sec, but we've got to look at all of these different metrics so we can really understand just how typical this is of a potential breakout being around the corner. Bitcoin's dominance continuing to rise up, Ethereum against Bitcoin continuing to slide down, which is a really nice kind of representation of where this market is in terms of sentiment, clearly showing that people want to be in Bitcoin but not the altcoin market. And of course, if we are able to get back up to that resistance level, then what we are going to do, and this is probably the best part of the entire YouTube video that we're going to cover today, what we are going to do is that with this relatively insignificant zone of resistance, this is going to be our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9th test of our resistance level right here, which is an absolutely huge deal in my opinion. I mean, like I said, I don't think that this is a particularly heavy zone of resistance. I don't think that this is a particularly problematic zone in the market. And so for Bitcoin to get back up there again and potentially try its luck at that resistance level again, to me, is absolutely a huge deal, because every subsequent test of these levels, as we understand from just classic technical analysis, just what you read in chapter 1, page 1 of any technical analysis book, which is good, is that the more you test a level, the more you expect that level to get weak. And we have been applying a lot of pressure at that $72,000 price level so far. I think that if Bitcoin is able to perhaps consolidate around where it is right now and then get ready for another blast off, that would be enough to really send this thing significantly higher up toward that previous all-time high that Bitcoin punched in the middle of March. That is 3 months ago now at this stage. And again, just to put all of this into perspective, the reason that I think it's all so exciting is that from the moment that we actually entered this range up until today, it has now been 105 days, which means that, by the way, we are roughly halfway through the entire consolidation period that we had last year, when Bitcoin was trading between $25,000 and $30,000, right? That was a 220-day period of consolidation. So far, we're at 105, so roughly half of what we did last time. And what we understand about what happened last time, and again, this is a concept we've been speaking about a lot on this channel, it's this nice, beautiful blue box right here. What we understand about what happened last time is that when that breakout came in, up to the high that we set, it was a 140% move from that breakout point. It was a 200% move from the low of this range. I mean, it is absolutely massive, the kind of price action that you can pull off when you get these kind of breakouts. And the thing that's crazy about the current market, and I swear, you know me, I am not the guy that's got the jetpack permanently strapped to my back. I'm not the guy that's always smoking that hopium and stuff like that. It's just not me. But I am rooted in facts, right? And that's why you come to this YouTube channel. I am rooted in reason. I'm very grounded with my analysis. I'm always grounded with my trades and stuff like that. That's why you come here. That's why you've seen me pull some phenomenal profits in this market as well. And the way I'm able to achieve that is by pushing the emotions to the side, but just paying attention to the facts in front of me, right? And the facts here are that we've had another extended period of consolidation, also within an uptrend, which is exactly what we did back here in this blue box before we got the big breakout. But when we got this breakout, we had a hell of a lot more resistance that Bitcoin had to deal with. Now, obviously, 30K was the strongest zone of resistance right here, but we still had many other zones of resistance up ahead for Bitcoin, and that is not something that we can say right now. You see, if Bitcoin does get back above that $72,000 level, and if it does blast through that $74,000 price area, there is nothing else on the chart to give us resistance. The only thing we're going to have at best is going to be some horizontal psychological resistance levels at round numbers, right? So 75, 80, 90, 95, 100, you know, these round numbers, the superstitious numbers, whatever it might be, right? That's the only thing that I think we can expect at this stage in the market as far as resistance goes, which means that, well, if you've consolidated for so long, if that breakout does end up coming, it could be amazing, right? So I don't want to sit here and speculate about where we could go to, but what I can say with a good degree of confidence at this point is that I think if the breakout does come, given how long we've consolidated, it's going to be face melting. I mean, whatever you think it is, it's probably going to be better than that. That's at least been my experience after these kind of consolidation ranges. I know that none of you expected Bitcoin to set a brand new all-time high only 4 or 5 short months after breaking out of this $30,000 price level, right? So that's the kind of thing that happens when you consolidate for a long time. And so if it does end up continuing to go in Bitcoin's favor from this particular perspective, then I think we could be looking at something very exciting in terms of upward price targets for Bitcoin. But in terms of the more bearish hypotheses, which we'll cover right now before we look at some of the key indicators, smash up the likes if you are enjoying this video, we do have resistance up ahead. And just as I always say, resistance is resistance and support is support, right? So the reason I say this is that it just tends to protect you, right? I mean, if you did exercise this kind of approach in the market, you would have gotten paid really well in this range. You would have gotten paid really well in these ranges, as long as you had good stop losses and stuff. And you know, that I think is something which is very, very important, because we're still not out of the woods if we do get up here. But all we need to do is get above it, and then, you know, even produce that kind of flip down here, which is a very similar kind of position to what I was talking about over here. And then that's a very, very nice entry level to take in the market as well. So like I said, guys, Blowfin is a phenomenal exchange to take advantage of moves in this market. Obviously, I'm not your financial advisor. You can find anywhere you want to trade and trade anything you like, but Blowfin seems to be a very strong player in this space right now. They're offering you thousands of dollars in bonuses when you sign up using the link down below. Here's what the sign up page looks like. It's a super, super simple process because they don't intrude in your personal life for you to trade on the exchange, and there are some phenomenal opportunities available for you to trade in these markets with the free money that they're going to give you, which is absolutely fantastic. So definitely check that out if you haven't done so already. Many of you already have, and you are reaping the benefits of it already, so shout out to those of you that do take advantage of the free money available to you here. Like I said, a potential very nice long entry, just like the one I was talking about on the last live stream. I outlined it perfectly. I literally brought up the tool. I told you where my stop loss would be, which, by the way, I said it would be, I can't remember. I either said it would be here, I think this is what I did say, or I said it would be here. I can't really remember where I said it would be now, but those of you who are watching, you can tell me. But that was a phenomenal trade. I mean, it would be roughly about a 30-40% profit at this point. Remember what we were talking about with those 30% profits, ladies and gents? Here's another view of the exact same thing. If we take a $500 account balance and we pull a 30% profit 3 times in a row, regardless of how much your account balance is when you start, you will always more than double your money if you pull 3 of these in a row. So that is absolutely fantastic. It is the power of compounding. We can throw $10,000 in and we can see that the numbers always work out the same. You will always more than double your money. And these 30% profits are not that hard to pull off. You just go long off a support level, wait for a 3% move, 10x leverage, and there you are. Obviously, this is also not financial advice, but what I am doing is just demonstrating to you that when you have access to these kind of tools, and assuming that they're legal to use in your country, specifically I'm talking about derivatives exchanges, if they are legal to use in your country, they can be quite easy to pull off. In practice, it's not going to be this easy. In practice, it's going to be a much more bumpy journey than this, if you even get there in the first place, because most people lose all of their money. But it does stand, it does still stand very clearly that, I mean, it wasn't a particularly difficult one to see coming, and we were talking about it quite confidently on the last live stream. So I'm seeing the same thing coming off this potential level here as well, if we are able to get above it with an entry a little bit like that. So that's absolutely fantastic. But again, bearish side here. If we do end up seeing rejections, again, it's the same thing I said about resistance, right? The more you test the level, the more that you expect it to get weaker. And unfortunately, I do think that we might be coming to the end of this support level's, service for us. I don't want to continuously anticipate that it's going to support the market up. It has been able to successfully support the market up to this point, which is a little bit over 3 weeks now, but I'm not going to keep on banging the same drum. And I think that if we do end up kind of falling down here, we have to start being open to the possibility that the market might collapse below it. And if it does, I think up at this stage now, again, given the fact that we have been above this level for about 3 weeks now, I'm not going to expect that these intermediate support levels at $63,000, $64,000 are going to support Bitcoin. And because of that, I am actually going to expect a $60,000, $61,000 Bitcoin at best, if not potentially even collapsing below that level. But none of that has happened yet, and I don't want to cross that bridge yet because it hasn't even come. So if it does happen, obviously you're going to be subscribed. You're going to know exactly what I think about it. But we will cover that when the time comes, if it does come. Now, if we do move on to some of the other markets which are interesting over here, let's just take a brief look at some of the altcoins. We've seen Matic here lose its support level and then climb a little bit higher. We've seen Solana here also lose this $170 level and nearly bounce off that 140 area. Now just kind of in the middle. These are not safe to trade in my opinion. There is no clear trend here. There is no clear entry that I can see, whether long or short in this market. Binance Coin did bounce off the beautiful entry that I outlined in the most recent live stream as well, which is fantastic. I was talking about this yellow line and I showed you a fixed range volume profile for this range stretching a little bit like this, also depicting the point of control right here, and that is more or less where Binance Coin actually bottomed out, very nearly hitting that big spike there on the fixed range volume profile, which is absolutely fantastic. And there is still some room for these kind of trade setups as well, which is interesting. This is also tradable, by the way, on Bybit. Which you can buy all of these coins with 0% spot trading fees on Bybit, which is super cool, because if you're not paying fees, you can trade as much as you like and never have to worry about anything other than how good your decisions are, which is much nicer than having to worry about fees at the same time as well. Let's take a look at Link as one of the bigger gainers today. It did lose this entire range, just demonstrating here how some of these coins can be very dangerous, but it has now recovered back up a little bit. I think it's going to have a fair bit of resistance up ahead now, and that could definitely be problematic, regardless of if Bitcoin does well or not. I don't want to be super bullish on these altcoin markets now. Again, with Bitcoin's dominance just confirming the very same thing to me. And by the way, if you did miss it, I did make a very important video covering this exact concept here, this Ethereum equals dead video. Obviously a slightly dramatic title, but a very, very important video. So if you have missed it, just go back and make sure that you do watch it, because I do think it is one of the most important videos I've ever made. It's a shame that people aren't really interested in content like this, but you're missing out on gold. This is where the easy money can be made with these kind of videos, so definitely check it out if you are interested. That is the kind of treat I'm going to leave you with for the end of this video. So if you have enjoyed this one, ladies and gents, do me a favor and smash up those likes. Double check that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel and take advantage of the thousands and thousands of dollars available to you all in free cash bonuses when you start trading using the exchanges that I've partnered up with here on this YouTube channel. Super exciting stuff. I'll come right back at you guys with more updates in this market as we continue to move forward here, whether it's videos or live streams. You're going to get it all from me right here on this channel. So thank you all very much for supporting, tuning in, all that good stuff, and I'll see you all in the next one.